Welcome to Heaven on Earth, a sacred portal to visualizing, meditating, and co-creating our highest joys that usher in the Golden Age of Aquarius. I'm your host, Athena StarSeed. Hi, this is Athena, and this is a show called Heaven on Earth, and we are here at CRN Talk Radio, and today I am very excited. I have a very special friend of mine, Jynnette Lewis from Inner Sun Alchemy, and we met at the Mystic Journey bookstore, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about mysticism and being an oracle. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So tell me, how did you get started on your spiritual journey, or did you just come in awake?
On some level, I came in awake, but I would say in my younger years, when I was in middle school age, I started to have experiences of presence peering through my consciousness. And I remember being outside at times during recess and be out in nature and can feel like myself dissolve, and this great beingness would like just look through my body. And that was my first kind of sense of something bigger than me and something bigger than us happening behind the scenes. But it wasn't until I got into college.
Wait, you can't just go from there to college.
Well,
so a being is like looking through you. Go into that for a second.
But not a person, but literally pure consciousness, pure presence of God itself. So it wasn't, an experience with an angel or anything.
How old were you, and what was that like?
Well, I think this was like 6th grade, so maybe like 10 or 11, possibly. It was peaceful. It was peaceful. And that is what truth is to me. And what I always bring as a message to people is that at the end of the day, with all the things that we go through, whether positive or negative, pleasure or pain, seek the path of peace, because that is where you touch eternity. That's where affinity is. That's where the reality of your soul is. And there's no identity there. There's no past, present, or future. It's just the now, and it's just existence. And when you get a chance to experience that, and it's available for all of us, it really does fill your soul on a deeper level and help you remember who you are.
But let's go back to when you're in the 6th grade. So you're just sitting in the 6th grade, and you feel the presence of now, and you go into a complete state of peace. Are you sitting in a desk? Are you on the playground?
Outside recess, out in nature. And
so
but there were no.
Take us through the story.
It wasn't even something that was planned. I think Adi Ashante is one of my favorite spiritual teachers, and he's referenced the moments of spontaneous enlightenment. It's not something that you pay for. It is something that is given by grace to show you and remind you of who you are in relation to this thing that we call life. So I wasn't meditating or didn't have any kind of spiritual practice. I was just a child. I was just out running around. And we actually, in the front of the school, there was a whole slew of trees that we had. So I remember I was out there in the middle, and it was so peaceful. And I don't even remember if there were any other kids around me at that time. But I remember running in, and came to a stop, and I just stood there, and I was just breathing, and then something shifted, and I just went away, and it was this presence was just peering through my body, I was just this visor. It was such an odd thing, but it didn't scare me, and I was just oh. On some level, subconscious level, I knew I didn't exist, that I knew it wasn't real. And looking back at it, I understand. But as a child, I didn't know what was happening.
Did you go tell the teacher or your mother?
No,
or were you?
Nobody was having those experiences. You have to understand, I grew up in poverty. So, I didn't grow up middle class life or anything. I went to a low income school. All people of color there, didn't know where the next meal was going to be coming from. Life was definitely very hard. People weren't having those experiences in my community, and definitely not, if they weren't talking about it. So,
were you raised in a Christian or a Baptist household? Did you go to church on Sundays?
Christianity definitely was the background. We it wasn't really a religious household. I think the environment that my mom grew up in might have been a little bit more religious, but she didn't really force that on me and my younger brothers. Okay. I had a natural affinity to spiritual topics just because I loved learning, and I wanted to always know more. Whether that was with music or with, math and science and everything, like I just had this insatiable desire for knowledge. But yeah, no, I mean, no one was having these experiences. No one was talking about meditation. In Christianity, there's the talk about prayer, but anything beyond that, no. So, but like I said, I wasn't scared because there wasn't anything. I wasn't seeing like these bright flashes of life. It really, truly was just this overwhelming wave of peace and just pure clarity. But I could tell that it wasn't me, though, because I wasn't there.
You
really
went away.
Wasn't there.
So you're just standing there as yourself in your 6-year-old body, and then you feel this wave of peace, and then you dissolve, and then this light looks through you at the trees.
Just peering. And like I could see myself, like the head was turning, like I could feel my body was being turned. And it was kind of like infinity or God consciousness just literally looking through and peering through this little miniature human just to see like, oh, what's going on here right now? And
now, did like after the feeling passed, did you start crying or did you just go right back into playing?
Went right back into playing.
Not even skipping a beat.
It was just so natural. And it's funny, as adults, it seems like something that is so kind of out of this world, but I assert that this is an experience that children naturally have, and these are experiences that they naturally live in, because it was completely normal to me. Even though I didn't have a conversation with anyone else, I didn't feel the need to because I didn't need to explain it. It's like, oh, okay.
So did you after that see any personified God beings? Like, did you see Jesus or angels or fairies, any of that?
No, not at all. Interestingly enough, but, again, like I said, given the environment that I was growing up in and what I was experiencing, it wasn't too long after that the pressure and the stress of being in situations where, physical security wasn't there, food security wasn't there, kind of thing. And I started to go into depression. Okay. Now, during this time, I was actually involved in music. So music was one of the things that kind of gave me a place to kind of tap into more of my spiritual side, I guess.
Right.
So it was a way out, and it was something that kind of kept me tethered. But, that's why I was like skipping to college, because like I really did start to shift into a darker part of life because I was starting to develop into a young woman, and the hormones and then just the stress, the years and the stress really started to take its toll. Now that particular experience, for sure, I think that a lot of light workers and healers do go through, is a period of an extended dark night of the soul or extended period of depression, regardless of the causes of those things. But they do go through that because you have to be able to tap into your inner fire and your inner yes, I like to call it.
That's beautiful. I love that. The inner yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the other extraordinary experience, I would say, happened in college.
Okay, wait. So from 6th grade, you go into this depression, and tell them what kind of musician you are.
So I actually played the viola. It's funny. I was blessed to have at the school an orchestra program, which, at this point now the program is gone, unfortunately. But at that time we did have it, not just band, which is awesome. And I wanted to play the violin, and they ran out of violins. So the teacher was like, I'm going to put you on viola. And I remember being so mad because I didn't know what a viola was.
So that's like a cello, right?
In the old days, it used to be, but it's basically a larger version of a violin. So it's a little bit like bigger. Okay. But I just made the choice that, if I'm going to play this, I'm going to be the best. And I was. Yeah. So it was a great, little orchestra that we had. It was just like eight or nine of us, all girls. All playing string instruments, and all of us were poor, so we all taught ourselves how to play.
Oh.
So I taught myself how to play the viola, didn't have any formal training or teaching, and was always first, was going to county competitions, state competitions, all that kind of thing. So I played from 6th grade all the way through most of college. I eventually did stop though because part of the thing with the depression is I was also started gaining a lot of weight. And it became physically painful to continue playing because I was carrying so much weight on the upper part of the body. Right. I was starting to get a lot of muscle pain and nerve pain, just like holding the instrument after 5 minutes. So I did actually stop playing the last year of college, but overall I played about 10 years.
But the music actually helped you with your home life and your depression, and probably contextualizing what was happening to you. Without that safety, the music takes you back to that heavenly creation because the universe is sound.
Yeah, it literally, music saved my life.
Yeah.
Music saved my life. It was the way for me to feel and express emotions that I couldn't verbally. Because, there definitely wasn't a way to speak about those things and have that kind of support because no one really had the tools.
Right. So anybody listening to this show, if you are a young person or a millennial or somebody who's just going through something really tough, even if you pick up a very simple instrument like a flute or even a drum, you know what I'm saying? And you just start putting your energy forward as an offering. Sometimes the spirit will come through you and play you as the instrument with the instrument. And that kind of lightens up the spirit and gets you through those darker times.
Yeah.
Now, did you start reading at that time? In college, were you getting psychic impressions, or when did that come on?
That was starting in college, actually. Yeah, it was kind of strange. I would say probably my first conscious aha moment versus the spontaneous one that was starting to happen, in middle school, actually happened in my first chemistry class. Because I was starting to learn. I know.
Talk about alchemy.
Well, so I'm a music person and a math person. So like to me, they're really the same. So I'm very left brain and right brain. But I really love science and math. So in my first chemistry class in college, which was different, because this was back in the 90s. At that time in science, the atom was described as like these little distinct particles, and everybody had like the electrons had these neat paths that they went around the nucleus and all that kind of thing. But when I got to the first college class and for chemistry, the teacher was talking about how everything was basically these clouds of electromagnetism, essentially, and what we considered to be particles were really just probability states.
Oh, now we're getting into some quantum physics.
Right. So, and I like literally had this moment in class where I was just like, everything exists, like all possibility, like, and it just
and out of existence.
Right. And I really just had this like, no, really on a practical, fundamental level, like this bell curve that we see, like this is the field of possibilities for existence. And your probability state is where you're going to fit in there. But like you could choose something else on the other side of the curve if you wanted.
So are you getting impressions then of other people's probabilities? Or are you getting stuff that based on their frequency where they're going? Whoops, we're gonna have to do this and tell me, answer it really quickly, and then we'll go to commercial.
Well, it gave me the background for how I approach healing work, which is to look at the mechanics of how energy works on a fundamental level and how to work with that in terms of consciousness and emotions and helping people clear things that are stuck with them, and also how reading itself works.
Well, after these commercial messages, we're going to get back to how does reading work? How does spirit come into form through us so that we can communicate on just more than one level with each other? This is Athena StarSeed, and I have Jynnette Lewis from Inner Sun Alchemy in the studio. This is CRN Talk Radio. We'll be right back after these messages.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
When you really want Italian food, you've got to go to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Can you believe that Independence Day is right around the corner, and right around the corner is Celebration City, Columbo's? So show your independence, fly the flag, and scream to the heavens, be gone, corporate eateries. My choice is Columbo's. No corporate script from your waiter saying, "Hi, I'm Florence and I'll be your server." No. It's honest, friendly service, sizzling steaks, magnificent offerings from the 7 Seas, Columbo's family secret Italian favorites, jazz every night, and to that we say, yes. Isn't it time you get acquainted with the Columbo's experience so you too will exclaim to one and all, yes, because it really is that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Declare your independence. Columbo's. Mangia.
Do you want to fly somewhere, anywhere in the world? Smart travelers call myflightsearch.com for the best deals on flight tickets. Going to Manila, Bangkok, London, how about Singapore? Call myflightsearch.com for the lowest flight tickets available. What about a local vacation? Let's say you want to fly to Vegas, Orlando, Miami, Los Angeles, or Denver. Pick up the phone and call myflightsearch.com right now. We have exclusive deals that you can't find anywhere else. The only way you can get these low airline prices is by calling us. We have so many low prices available, we can't possibly tell them to you right here and now. If you're flying somewhere anytime in the next 6 months and you want the lowest airline ticket prices anywhere, you owe it to yourself to save a ton of money. So pick up your cell phone and call myflightsearch.com right now.
Call 800-445-3166. 800-445-3166. That's 800-445-3166. Call now. 800-445-3166.
Supreme grace, lay rain down to me. Supreme grace, lay rain down to me.
Hi, this is Athena StarSeed, and this is a show called Have It on Earth. We are creating portals of possibility where light workers can come, share their gifts, and usher in a new frequency to birth heaven on earth through each and every one of our own heart chakras. And today in studio, I have Jynnette Lewis, who's got InnerSunAlchemy.com, and she does astrology readings, intuitive clearings, and healings. And basically, she's got a whole metaphysical toolbox. You can get a hold of her and call her up for her services. But right now, we're going back to a story. She was raised in a low-income family. Then she went to middle school, very depressed. She used music to kind of release her soul and connect back to God. But still dealing with that depression, she ends up in a counselor's office, and she starts having more spiritual awakenings.
Well, so I'll backtrack just a little bit. So I, as I'd mentioned, I'd been suffering from depression, and it really got to a point a couple weeks before the September 11th attacks, actually back in 2001, where I had come back to school from the summer. There was a lot of stress at home because we were losing the house.
There we go.
I actually hadn't eaten much over the summer because we were having to get food from the food pantry, and it was a miracle for me even to return to school, but I was physically tired because literally I was not getting the nutrition I needed. I was also very heavy and overweight. At this point, I was close to 200 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So this happens to so many light workers. You're not alone out there.
Yeah. So
it's a safety thing when you start eating for comfort, so you feel safe.
Yes. So I remember being in my dorm room in college, and I closed the door, and I was just like, I can't do this, because I was going to one of the top universities in the country. I didn't know anyone else. I went to Washington University in St. Louis. And so it's just like, no one is having these experiences. Like, I can't keep up this front that everything's okay, and it's not. It's really not. So I remember sitting there, and I could feel myself just like everything just stopped, and I was just like, I cannot do this. And I felt time stop, literally time stop. And I heard this voice, and it's the first time I'd ever had any kind of clairaudient experience. Yeah. But I heard a voice, like as if I'm talking to you, say, "This is almost over."
Oh my gosh.
And well, that was my reaction because I was like, oh my God, what
Who's
is
in here? What's going on?
Exactly. And I just got this massive download. Like, and if you've had downloads, you know, they just come in a flash, but there's so much that's there. And it was just like, you are depressed. And I had to accept it because I'd been fighting it. Like, I knew, but I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to deal with my stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, just like, you were depressed. And I was just like, okay. And the statement, you know, this is almost over, hit me because I realized the time that I was going to have in college was almost over. And everything that I truly wanted in my heart was going to escape me if I didn't actually get what I wanted from college, which was to find out who I was.
Right.
And to discover who I wanted to be. Like, I didn't really go to like get the degree and like to follow the track that everyone else was. It's like, that was my chance to not be home and dealing with the stress and the poverty. And it's just like, but it was my time to like discover who I was, and I wasn't doing that. So I don't want to get choked up. But so, you know, I got that and understood that, and I really got a deeper commitment. And so basically the voice was like, you need to do this, and this.
No. I want to know what
so,
those
well,
things
yeah,
are.
well, no, I'm going to tell you. So because I just got the, you know, the download, the laundry list. So it's like, you need to start working with a counselor. You need to get yourself on medication because I was really having the swings. You need to start working with a nutritionist. You need to start, you know, focusing on your health. You need to start working on your voice and start working on different aspects of the arts. And so I was just like, yes, I will. But I also said in that moment, you know, if truly with God all things are possible, then I want to be healed.
Yeah.
I don't want to be managing this 10 years from now.
Yeah.
That's not with God all things are possible to me.
Now, are you talking to the being
This
that
is
you're...
yes.
Okay. And who is the being?
This was Archangel Gabriel.
And how, did he say, this is Gabriel?
No, that only came in recently as I started working, you know, with the angels more specifically.
And did you see a form, or was it just a presence again?
Presence and the voice.
And the voice.
And the
was
voice,
it a male
and
voice?
It was a male voice for sure. And this, like I said, was happening, like I literally, like everything had stopped. Like I stopped actually hearing folks outside too. Like time
I'd love to see that in a film.
Really
I would love
to. But yeah, so, you know, I got the thing, and I was just like, you know, I'll give everything that I need to do, you know, to have this happen on my end. But I, you know, I expect, you know, to have healing. So I went on that journey, started working with the counselor, everything that I was told to do. But that's also when I started getting into more other options of the performing arts. So I started acting, I started voice, I started dance. All of those things is what came in during that time for me.
So a lot of healing comes through art, through music, through creative expression. And I like to call it the creative arts energy, because God is a creator and we're creators. So the solution to depression is expression and creation. This is Athena StarSeed, and we are at CRN Talk Radio with Heaven on Earth. We'll be right back after these commercial messages. That's amazing.
You're experiencing pain, back pain, shoulder, elbow, or hand pain, pain from a sports injury. If so, schedule a visit with Dr. Michael Sheps, the leading expert in laser therapy for pain management. Call 310-873-4422 or go to drsheps.com. Experience Epic T, the breakthrough laser therapy system that Dr. Sheps developed to make you pain-free in less time. Laser therapy is a non-invasive, safe, and effective in-office procedure that penetrates deep into your skin without damaging the tissue. It perfectly targets areas of pain to promote fast, natural healing. Relax your muscles, ease muscle spasms, joint stiffness, and arthritis pain while increasing blood circulation. For over 25 years, Dr. Sheps has helped Olympic athletes and sports enthusiasts alike get back in the game. Schedule your visit with Dr. Sheps at his Brentwood office in California. Call 310-873-4422 or visit drsheps.com. That's DRSHEPS.com, 310-873-4422.
Hi friends, this is Larry Minetti. Go to LarryMinetti.com to get my book, Aloha Magnum. You'll read all about the wonderful guest stars like Carol Burnett, Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, and many, many more. There is an episode guide and my favorite recipes that I really cook at home. I will include a free signed photo with every book. Get Aloha Magnum at LarryMinetti.com. Order now. Aloha.
When you really want Italian food, you've got to go to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Can you believe that Independence Day is right around the corner, and right around the corner is Celebration City, Columbo's? So show your independence, fly the flag, and scream to the heavens, "Be gone, corporate eateries! My choice is Columbo's!" No corporate script from your waiter saying, "Hi, I'm Florence and I'll be your server." No, no, no. It's honest, friendly service, sizzling steaks, magnificent offerings from the seven seas, Columbo's family secret Italian favorites, jazz every night, and to that we say, yes, yes, yes. Isn't it time you get acquainted with the Columbo's experience so you too will exclaim to one and all, yes, 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 because it really is that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Declare your independence. Columbo's. Mangia.
A New Alchemy. ANUALCHEMY.com. www.anewalchemy.com to find Oramus and other Siddha medicine. These substances support the unfolding of consciousness in a body when added to prayer and meditation on a daily basis. In ancient times, Cleopatra called Oramus milk. She said, "I bathe in milk to stay young." And the Jews called it manna from heaven. This substance accelerates, amplifies, enriches your prayer and meditation. It is a generic substance that is powered by love. It's compatible with any tradition, any religion. Your prayer and meditation will take you to a deeper place for your interaction with Spirit. ANewAlchemy.com. ANUALCHEMY, all one word, .com.
Supreme grace, lay rain down.
Athena StarSeed, and this is a show called Heaven on Earth, and we are on CRN Talk Radio with my beautiful goddess girlfriend, Jynnette Lewis from Inner Sun Alchemy. And we're just kind of talking about how when you incarnate, typically if you are a full-blown light worker, you have already agreed, you volunteered to come down to the earth plane and take on all the karma of all the different lifetimes in one lifetime so that you can actually ascend. And when we do that, sometimes we forget how hard it is to be a human, and the injuries and the wounds of our childhood start pushing us deep, deep, deep inner into that well of, I want to say not only just the dark night of the soul, but the dark matter where everything starts to flower. And so I myself also had, raised on food stamps, mother had 5 kids, in a low-income family, got made fun of for wearing the same jeans twice in a row because I didn't have a lot of clothes, a lot of pressure in middle school. Kids are kind of cruel. I ended up in a wheelchair. People would lock me in and out of the elevators and make fun of me and call me a cripple or a handicap. And it was like, at those times, you have to really dig deep and find out who you are, not defined by your peers, or the culture, or even what your parents project onto you, but it pushes you so far into your soul that when you're crying and you want to jump off the planet, you have to go in and say, God, please do not forsake me. What is my purpose? Where are my people? What am I doing here? And then out of that, you do have this overwhelming peace that starts to kind of cradle you and take you along your life and say, hey, just wait one more day. Things are going to get better. And all of a sudden, you do start receiving flashes of intuition. So you got a note from an angel, basically taking dictation. You need a counselor. You need to start doing music. You have to get yourself involved in arts. And in that creation, your depression starts to lift. And how did you start reading for people in college?
So after doing some really hard work for about 2 years, the social worker that I was working with is the one that actually introduced me to an energy healer. Now, I had learned through reading Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom by Dr. Christian Northrup, which I think every woman should read because that book is absolutely phenomenal.
Say the book again really slow.
Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom.
Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom. And also, too, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, another really great book.
But what I liked about Women's Bodies was she actually was the one that introduced me to the idea of energy healing and yoga and Reiki and all of those kinds of things. So at college, I actually started doing yoga because they had classes there. Wow. And I learned about Reiki and started doing that on myself to help support the healing process. And so after doing that for about 2 years, my counselor saw the kind of work that I was putting in. She was like, I think you're ready to meet this healer. And I was like, ooh. So she introduced me to a healer that she worked with, and I chose to go to her instead of going to the graduation ceremony because I'm like, I'm going to get this healing.
So you didn't graduate?
No, I graduated, but I didn't go to the actual ceremony.
You missed your own graduation?
Yes.
Oh my God.
To go get healing, yes. Because I was flying out
amazing.
I was going to fly out that same day, and I was just like, I want to be
healed.
Like,
so
this is the priority
for that, right?
This is the priority for me. So,
well, talk about dropping your ego. You're basically like,
yeah,
I'm going direct to God. I don't care about anything else.
Yeah, I mean,
healed.
when you have time stop and it's just like, this is what's up, you kind of listen.
Were you ever thinking, I want to jump off this planet? Did that ever cross your mind?
Yeah, I mean, if you deal with mental illness, not being alive is definitely something that you deal with. And there were a lot of people, unfortunately, that I was around that were also dealing with severe mental illness, who were bipolar, who were manic, depressive, and all those kinds of things. And most of those folks actually didn't make it back. Like, they still are locked in that place. Some, folks have killed themselves over the years. Like, it's serious. So it's not something that I take lightly. I was just...
so you were like, this is a priority now.
This is a priority. And now that I know what I know about my soul, I get that. But yeah, so I started that journey with her. And after about a year, had dropped the weight, came down to a healthy weight. And she was the one that really helped open the door for me for understanding the mechanics of how things work on an energy level when you're doing healing. Wow. And so that's where I learned that, especially with the physical weight, why I was having such a hard time getting it off. Because even after 2 years of working with a nutritionist, I wasn't losing the weight. Yeah. And it's
emotional and
she
spiritual.
taught me, it's like, when you clear the energy field, which is the actual template for the physical body, then the physical has to shift.
Exactly.
Now, it's not to say that I didn't, obviously I changed my eating habits and was exercising, but I only saw the massive shifts happen in conjunction with doing energy work. So that had been something that had been a part of the practice for me. And so after college and, doing this work, I really started to dive into deeper meditation. I got into A Course in Miracles, conversations with God, and I really started getting into Buddhism, Taoism, and really trying to understand the mechanics of consciousness and the nature of reality.
Well, let's go back for just a second. So for the people that are not super savvy with all the reading, if you're just tapping in. So we have all these different bodies. We have a physical body, and what we eat actually puts our physical body together. But then we have an emotional body, and those emotions are actually created by our thought bodies. And then we have a spirit body, and then it kind of goes up and up and up, and all of these little bodies are like Russian dolls nested inside of each other. And when you finally have the bodies get infiltrated all the way down, the physical body is the last thing that starts showing up for the disease. And it could be depression, it can be obesity, it can be any itis, bronchitis, arthritis, any of that. It's usually caused by something disturbed, either from your early childhood, and we're talking about in vitro, having a traumatic experience inside of the womb, all the way to possibly a past life that you haven't cleared. And those traumas are in your life for a reason, for a gift, to come up to conscious awareness, to clear them. But they have to be cleared on an energetic level, a mental level, an emotional level, and then you'll see it on the physical level. So go ahead, continue.
Yeah. So the energy work was really started to open up for me, and then that's when I started to have more of my clairvoyance ability starting to open up, because with the meditation, it really helped to clear my mind and kind of open up my third eye chakra a little bit more.
And the Reiki too does it. The Reiki makes you more psychic.
Yeah. And I could feel my intuition became like so much more strong. Became much more connected and could feel things and could sense things. So like, yeah, the world really just started to open up once I really basically went through that 3-year process essentially of healing work. And, I was just like so phenomenal. And with that too, the art stayed with me.
Did you see your counselor, your healer 3 times a week, once a week for 3 years? What was your protocol?
I met with her, or I did sessions with her like once a week, and then it shifted to once every 2 weeks, and then once a month, and then eventually we just stopped. So
okay, and do you still keep in touch with her today?
Yeah, we. I mean, it's been like over 10 years now.
That's so nice.
Because I worked with her back in 2003, and I think I stopped probably like 2005 or something. So
that's wonderful. I was doing some research on Chiron, and obviously it's the wounded healer, celestial body, and that there's a belief that basically the only ones who can truly heal are the wounded healers, because they go inside with their own toolkit and they know how to get themselves out of it, and then they share that medicine with the other same different many me's, because we're in a hologram.
Yeah, and I like to call it the keys of liberation, and this is something that came up with astrology for me, and that kind of jumped in around 2012 actually, the astrology piece. Okay. Because again, with my math mind, my degree in college was actually math, so I was always like kind of still drawn to the science aspect of things, but with the signs themselves, the zodiac. I think that the spectrum that opposite signs sit on hold the keys to liberation for the opposite sign. So, like with, say you are someone who's a Libra, Libras are known as like, the social butterflies, and they're all about, fairness and justice and all of that. But a tendency with them is to think of others before themselves to the detriment of themselves.
Right.
So I like to say, your key for the liberation from like staying stuck in a particular pattern is found in your opposite sign of Aries, which is pure sense of self and taking care of your humanity, because it's that first life, that first fire element,
The first particle of the world is where you sit, and then every particle after that. Well, that leads us to the reading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
I think I'm going to get a reading right now.
So let's look at your chart. So you are... Let's see.
I'm a Pisces.
You're a Pisces, and you are a rising sign Libra. That's right, and I am too. I think we bonded over this. Yes, yay! I'm a fellow Libra rising.
I love Libra because I'm always like, divine justice. Is it fair? Making sure, does everybody get food at the table? Did everybody have a chance to sing? Did everybody paint?
Yes. I love that. Now, Pisces is interesting energy to me because they're the last sign of the zodiac, and to me, they are the most evolved, because they've gone through all of the other 11 experiences, all of the 11 signs, right? So they have deep wisdom, but they have very big hearts. And the challenge I find with Pisces is they have to learn to trust other people on their own journey, that they're going to be okay, and that they don't have to rescue.
Right, the Christ Pisces. We're like, I'll save you, and they jump in, and then you're like, literally, like that's such a profound thing. Like, listen to what she's saying. If you're a Pisces, I have literally taken homeless people off the street and put them in my house, and then I'm shocked that they have drinking problems and drug issues. And I'm like, my love will save you.
Right. Well, the thing is with your sign specifically, I mean, you really are source. As a water element, your source.
I surrender my will.
But you truly see people for who they are.
Yeah, I can see their oversoul, yeah.
But your challenge is to make decisions based off of people's actions, not off the potential you see.
Where were you 6 months ago?
Right, in the dating life.
I didn't even know you. I should have been like, should I this homeless person or this homeless person?
No, I love it. It's a beautiful thing. I really do love Pisces, but your heart is your greatest saving grace. But again, putting yourself first and trusting. Your key to liberation is trust. Trust. Yes.
Thank you for that. So, and when you're saying trust, give me something practical where I can actually.
So, okay, if you So, for instance, if you see someone in particular who's dealing with mental illness or something like that, part of the hard thing that is, especially as someone who's gone through that, a lot of times when you have a lot of people who come to you and it's just like, well, how can I help? And then just like, let me show up for you in this way. It actually makes it worse for that person. They go more into their shell. So, one of the things I tell people, especially if they feel like they can't do anything, is first of all, start with prayer.
Yeah.
Like, pray for that person, pray for healing for them, pray for the spirit guides and the loved ones who've passed over, who walk with them, protect them, strengthen their ability to help, because they're there with them. They're not alone. Like, don't get distracted by our physical bodies and the seemingness of separation, because we're not. Pray for healing for their minds, for their emotions, for their body. Pray for peace for them. Yeah. Your words have power, especially where we are right now in the world. Like we're vibrating at such a higher vibration now compared to even 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
So the effect that we have with the field of intention and with our words and with our love has such a greater impact than you can realize. So please, please, please start with that.
Wonderful.
Start with that.
Okay, good. All right. So Libra rising and...
Yes. So, with the rising sign, I look at this different. I think the rising sign is indicative of your higher self.
Oh.
And your spirit.
Beautiful. Oh, and I want to talk about the nodes too. Remind me.
Oh, yes. Okay. So the rising sign I call more of your destiny energy, more representative of divine will. So it's going to show you how life is going to bring certain things to you. So if you are, getting a service from an astrology or reading horoscopes or forecasts, pay attention to what's happening with the rising sign, because that's going to tell you like, okay, well, this is going to be hitting the money house for me, or this is going to be showing up in relationships. It's actually going to be more relevant to your life than reading the sun sign per se, in my opinion, I've found.
Okay.
Now with the nodes, I'm glad that you brought this up. The nodes, I think, actually have probably as much weight as any other astrological transit that than most people realize, because the nodes of the moon relate to the evolution of your soul, relates to why you're here and what you want to be focused on in a particular part of your life. So collectively, we're all under the North Node going through Leo right now. So it's all about your creative gifts. It's all about your unique purpose, the arts. There's so much creativity that's popping up now. Like so many people are writing now, or they're getting tapped into music, the crystal sound baths, and all of that is just really flourishing, because this is that energy of Leo. And this is basically the growth edge. This is where you can evolve yourself and come out of, kind of like the way to come out of any kind of self-sabotaging patterns or anything is get that energy moving. And that's what's great about the arts, which is why I think music and all the performing arts are important for everyone, but especially those who are really going through tough times, is because it helps get the energy moving. You are a creative being.
Right.
We are individual aspects of God, of Source, which is creator. So when you are mimicking that, by creating, you're keeping that energy flow, you're lightening your aura field, you're putting yourself in a place of joy and peace and healing. Right. And when you do that, and the more that you do that, you can walk into a room and affect the atmosphere.
There's about 10 years ago, I got downloaded with all these star charts, and I saw the next 100 years on the planet and how everything's shifting in harmonics. And they showed me little circles laying on all these little circles, like a circle of circles, like if you took a deck of cards and you laid them out flat. And basically what they said in the math, it was all math. It looked like a blueprint, really, but it was like purple writing and these big, huge star maps. And there were 10 sets of 10. So it was crazy. But basically what it was is that the golden age of enlightenment is about people becoming the artists of their own life. And inside of the word heart is art. Yes. And each person has a gift, a holy gift that they are born with and they incarnate with to give back to the world. And so how do we create heaven on earth? It's really about the golden age of putting your art forward and tapping into that unique aspect of who you are and why you came. So we're getting ready to go to commercial message, but when we get back, we're going to talk a tiny little bit about the South Node and some of your exciting projects in Hollywood, because you're a writer, a screenwriter, and an actress. And so actually living the life example of an artist. With us is Jynnette, and she's innersunalchemy.com. Please get a hold of her if you'd like one of her astrological readings. This is Athena StarSeed with a show called Heaven on Earth. We'll be right back. CRN Talk Radio.
Hi, everyone. This is Fred Dreyer with some breaking news. My new movie, Highway 395, has just been released. Highway 395 is my latest movie and is now available for all of my friends and listeners to own. Highway 395 is a classic modern-day Western thriller. Action, romance, and the frontier spirit. It's all there in my new movie, Highway 395. Now, here's the best part. You can own this movie tonight by going to my brand new website, freddryer.co. Head to my website now at freddryer.co and check out the trailer. Then order the movie for a great night of entertainment. And while you're at freddryer.co, check out the memorabilia and my career highlights. But don't forget to order my new action thriller movie, Highway 395. So head over to freddryer.co. That's freddryer.co.
The smartest way for you to get the lowest prices on your plane tickets, domestic or international, is to call SmartFares first or last, but you've got to call us before you book your plane tickets. Fly anywhere in the world, fly anywhere in the U.S., and SmartFares can save you up to 75% on your plane tickets. We have the lowest airline ticket prices on over 500 airlines, and you've got a great 12-hour free cancellation window. Plus, with our live agent help, you can always get fast help and fast answers. So on your next trip, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, how about right now? Pick up your phone and call SmartFares, plus save up to 75% on your plane reservation. So call right now. 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644.
The legends of Ka'anapali Luau at the Ka'anapali Beach Hotel will take your breath away with an abundant feast, spellbinding dances, and music from Lei Pono Productions. Be greeted with a lei and browse to see island crafts made by local artisans. As you hear the pu or conch shell blow, your luau experience will begin. The featured entree is a whole roasted pig and a bountiful menu of some of Hawaii's favorite food choices. Oh, you can't forget our famous made in-house taro poi. As your night comes to an end under the spell of the moon, be amazed by the famous fire walk. By the end of the night, you'll be full, and we hope you'll have made new friends and some forever memories while you continue to listen to music from Maui's local Hawaiian musicians every Monday night at Hawaii's most Hawaiian hotel. Ka'anapali Beach Hotel, voted Best Aloha Spirit by Hawaii Magazine readers. Call 667-0128 or visit legendsofka'anapali.com for your exciting island adventure.
Hi, this is Athena StarSeed, and this is a show called Heaven on Earth, and we have Jynnette Lewis in studio, who is a cosmic astrologer, and she's also a movie screenwriter and an actress, and we were going over the last little bit of my chart, and we were talking about the South Node.
Yeah, well, I actually want to jump in because we were talking, well, the South Node in general talks about where you have already had mastery in a previous life.
Where was that?
So that's that Virgo energy, first of all, and Virgo is the refiner. It's the one that purifies things and brings them to Libra, which is your rising sign, for decisions to be made. But it is very much about service to humanity on a practical level. And that was up in the 11th house for you. So very much about the community and working for the
That's
group.
my past
That's your
life?
past. Yeah. So that's what's easy for you.
Because it feels so natural. I've been really wanting to gravitate towards that community. And
But the growth edge is your North Node, which is Pisces, and that's in your 5th house, which is more about your own personal joy and creativity and artistry. So
my North Node is Pisces?
Yes.
I'm a Pisces with a North Node in Pisces.
Yes. Yes. So you are supposed to be the creator. You're supposed to be, I don't know if you do acting or write or dance, sing. All of those things.
I do all of those things.
Actually, what the growth. That's actually what is going to give your soul a sense of fulfillment and purpose in this life.
That's what she tells me too. Why are we working so hard? We just want to paint and dance.
That's what your soul wants. That's it. It really is. You know.
So what's the medicine for that? To actually dive into it and
dive into it, because the thing is, the South Node is where you can build your foundation, and it's it'll give you stability, but it's not where you're supposed to stay. You can come back to it whenever you need, obviously, but you want to grow into the North Node energy.
I feel guilty a little bit still from some weird thing that, like, if I'm taking center stage or if I'm doing my art, that somehow I'm not teaching a group.
Well, but the thing is, the fifth house in the 12 houses, the fifth house represents the energy of Leo, actually.
Oh.
Which is ruled by the sun. So you're supposed to shine.
So my North Node Pisces is in the house of Leo.
Yes. Yes.
I never knew that.
Yeah. And I like to say, like, you know, depending on what house your sun is in, that gives you the flavor of your sun sign as well. So since you also have your sun sign in the fifth house, you very much show up and present probably more like a Leo than you do as a Pisces to people.
That's
I was actually
amazing.
surprised when you told me you were a Pisces. I was like, really? And then I looked at your chart and I was like, oh, okay.
I just going to tell you how wonderful you are. Like, I've had different readings and no one has ever said it to me like that I even remember what my North and South Node was, and that is supposed to be my offering.
Yeah.
I think you just freed me. She just freed me. I'm going to do a sonnet next show.
Yes, please do. And, you know, in all seriousness, because respect has to be given to every piece of the puzzle.
Oh.
You know, the artist is just as important as the healer. In fact, they're the same.
They're the same. That's so amazing.
The medium is just different.
And you're an artist. Can you talk a tiny little bit about your art?
I mean, the music, and, you know, I like I said before, in college, I got into acting, started getting into dance, singing and all that kind of stuff. So when I moved back home from college, I stayed in acting and all that kind of stuff. And I'm at a place now where I actually want to start shifting into creating my own work. So I am working now on a short film that I'm going to be filming in a few months. I jumped back into playing the viola, was just recording with a friend of mine on his latest album, and those singles just released yesterday.
I want to hear you play the viola. We have to have you back. We have 60 seconds. Okay, what's the name of the film?
The film that I'm going to do is called Black Sand. So it's a fantasy script about a young woman who is locked in this magical prison in the desert and has to break through her fear to come out of it and start a new life.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So listen, thank you so much for the reading. Jynnette, this is InnerSunAlchemy.com. She's amazing. She's at the Mystic Journey bookstore. When are you there?
Mondays and Wednesdays, 11 to 3:30.
And I'm there on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Yes.
So listen, we thank you so much. If you're an artist, get out there and paint. And if you're not, get your crayons out and do something magical for your inner child. We love you. This is a show called Heaven on Earth. Be your own heaven. That's the best thing we can do, is heal ourselves through our art and our creative energy. All right, this is Athena StarSeed, and this is a show called Heaven on Earth on CRN Talk Radio. We'll see you next week, same time. Blessings. You're awesome.